Yo, what's going on, guys? In today's YouTube video, I will be explaining how to get precise entries and exits when it comes to futures trading and options trading. Because the question that I get a lot is, I struggle with my entries, I struggle with my exits. Like, you, if you're going to be trading futures, you want to be precise, and same thing with the option side. They're different on both, so I'm going to be explaining the difference of both and how to get precise entries on both. So let's get right into it. I'm going to be showing you guys some examples of some of the trades that I took this week, right? And how I got precise entries on these. So let's take a look at the Nasdaq, and the time frames that you are trading on is very significant because if I'm just looking at one time frame, sometimes I may get a late entry, but if I'm looking at two, I can get a much better idea of how price is actually performing. For example, this was a key level on Nasdaq, so I'm usually taking break retest off of significant levels, break and retest. When you're looking for a break and retest, you want to make sure it actually closes above when it breaks. Otherwise, you're prone to fake outs. So I wanted to actually break and actually hold the level that I want. For example, this was a big resistance here, 22,935. It was also the pre-market high. I'm gonna start off with the future side, and then I'm gonna go into the option side. Okay, but this is the Nasdaq, so it would be the same thing with options. But let's take a look at futures. Futures, I would want to look to get a precise entry. If I am trading minis, I would want to get a precise entry on a smaller time frame because my brain is like a calculator before I enter any trade. Let's look at a candle and let's count how many points a candle is. So if this candlestick on the retest here, this bullish hammer, right? If this candlestick is from 22,960 and the low is 22,930, that is a 30-point candle. And if I am trading a mini contract, that means I am risking 30 points times $20. I'm probably risking $600 on this trade, which for me, that doesn't fit my system. Therefore, I wouldn't take that trade. Now, for me, when I am trading NASDAQ, I like to risk about 10 to 15 points, which is about $200 to $300. Make sure to take notes on this stuff too, guys. This is going to help you like kind of build a system around. So therefore, when I'm getting an entry, it has to fit my criteria. But this is a beautiful break and retest, right? Now, how could I have gotten a better entry off this? Remember I told you guys I'm looking at two different time frames? I'm looking at the 1 and the 5. So the 5 closing as a bullish hammer is a beautiful confirmation, right? That is great confirmation for me to take that trade. Now, on the 1 minute time frame, we also get an opportunity to get a beautiful entry. So let me show you guys right here actually. It's off the same level, but on the 1 minute time frame, it's because sometimes imagine waiting a whole 5 minutes for a candlestick to close, right? It would have already closed up here. But if you start to get signs of it actually holding the level a little bit before the candlestick closes, you can minimize your risk. So instead of risking 30 points after that candle closes, look at these bullish hammers holding here on the 1 minute. And this is from 22,946 to 22,932. It's about a 10 to 15 point candle, which fits the criteria. And it's a retest off of a key level. To be precise, what kind of gives me that extra confirmation? The bullish hammers. Those are candles that I really like taking trades off of. And as you can see in this scenario, let's take off all this stuff right here. We hold it, right? We hold very well. It's a 10-point stop. I could target the recent high of days. So that's like an area that I like to exit at. I have my entry, my stop loss right under the level. You must be able to answer these three questions. Where is my entry? Where is my stop loss? And where is my take profit? If you can't answer those three questions, you shouldn't be taking the trade. In this case scenario, this was a beautiful entry, stop loss below. And even if you missed that entry, which I actually missed that entry on Thursday because I was looking at ES at the same time, which I'll explain right now, you can still identify a trend to look for precise entries. What does a trend do? An uptrend, it makes a high, a higher low. It makes a high and a higher low. So off of this third higher low, I was like, if this can hold as another higher low, then we can target those highs. So I made an entry here, and this candle still makes sense for me. The best entry would have been here, of course, though. This is the best entry to have possibly have gotten due to those bullish hammers. This is still a higher low, so it's still a great entry. And there's a nice level of support here too in the 60s. So this is about a from 969 to 960. It's a 9 point stop. I'm totally fine with that. It fits my system. And as long as it's a higher low, look, I'm gonna highlight the lows. Low, higher low, higher low. I got an entry here, stop loss right under 60, and I caught the move pretty much to up here in the 90s. I risked 10 points to make pretty much 30 points, right? I made $600 on this trade, risking $200. And it's all up of a significant level, identifying a clear trend. And that's how I'm getting like more precise entries. Not only that, I stacked Confluence with ES on the NASDAQ. So ES on Friday, as you guys, sorry, on what was that, Thursday, ES on Thursday broke a very significant level. So at the same time, so let's take a look at what time that bounce happened. It was at 6:40, right? 6:40 in the morning. And then we go look at ES. What did ES do at 6:40 in the morning? Oh, would you look at that? A significant key level, 6,300. What kind of candlestick did we get off that key level? A bullish hammer. Now, when I am trading ES on the future side, I like risking about 2 to 4 points to make 8. If I'm risking 2, I want to make 4. If I'm risking 4, I want to make 8. Right? In this case scenario, we have a beautiful break and hold retest to 6,300. It's a 4 point candle. I always count the candle to see if it fits the criteria. So 4 points on ES is $200. I'm totally okay with that. Now, stop loss right under the candle, entry off the bullish hammer, take profit. We don't really have one because, well, we could use the next psychological level. This is the all-time high, right? So we just have to follow the momentum and get a good read on price action to pretty much let us know where our exit can be. Once you start seeing slowing down, that is how you're going to get a precise exit also. But as far as it's still showing strength, I mean, we're good to go, you know? You're good to go with this uptrend until it starts showing signs of slowing down, the candles get smaller. Pretty much here you're risking 4 points to make more than, pretty much that's like 8 points right there. 04 to, into the 18s, that's more than 10 points. So that's a quick example. I don't know if I want to make this video too long, but I'll show you guys another example of a futures trade that I took on Wednesday and how I kind of got a precise entry here also, right? I kind of have to count, like I said, I have to count the candles, make sure it all makes sense. Of course, I have analysis behind the trade. And as you can see on Wednesday, we held Tuesday's low. Look what happened at Tuesday's low. We had a beautiful balance. Wednesday in pre-market, we held that same area. It's a psychological level of 22,600. A lot of the times when I'm trading futures, they're going to be off psychological levels like 22,600, 22,700, 22,800, 23,000, right? Kind of like yesterday. I took that move into 23,000. As we can see, we had a downtrend in the pre-market and we finally broke above. Now, if I count that candle that broke above, that's like from 660 to 705. Imagine getting an entry off that and you're risking 45 points. There's just no way. It doesn't fit my system. There's no way. So I have to wait for some type of pullback to a significant level to see if it's actually going to hold a level. So now, remember I said I'm looking at 2 different time frames. So that was a 5 minute. Now if I look at the 1 minute off that same area, which happens to be over here, let's go over here to the left. It was on Wednesday. It happened to be right here. Now we had broken a level of resistance, right? We had broken a level of resistance here after that trend line, and we took out a lower high. Where was the lower high? It was here. See this major rejection here where I drew this green box? So when we break a key level like that, now you could have also taken the break and retest of the trend line, right? Which is off this green candle right here on the 1 minute. This is about from 80 to 60. So it's a 20 point candle. Maybe you're risking a little bit more off a 20 point candle. Remember I said I like to risk 10 to 15. If you're able to get the entry at the low of that candle, then of course you would have gotten a better entry with stops right under that like trend line, right? It all depends on where you like, you want to have that zone where you want to get your entry and you want to see signs of it holding. And if you can get in before the candle closes at 20 points, you would get a 10 point stop, that would be a beautiful entry there. Now if you miss it, totally fine. Where I got my entry on Wednesday was off the retest of that level. So if we look here on the 5 minute, what happens? We broke aggressively. We got a pullback to the big level of resistance, which turns to support. Where's it at? In the 22,681 area. And what kind of candlestick do we get here? Bullish hammers. I see 1, 2, 3 back to back. So I'm starting to see signs of it holding all before the next 5-minute candle closes. And I count the candle, of course, from 690 to 680. That's 10 points. It fits my criteria, and we're on an uptrend. So that is a higher low, and I get my entry here. My stop loss is right under that support, and my take profit is the recent high at 707 or even the psychological 700. As we get a push, the market just ripped. So I was able to catch this candle, and I'm risking 10 points to pretty much make 30 points. It was a beautiful move. And if you would have held, as long as it makes higher lows, which it did, like it broke that high, higher low, higher low. I mean, you could catch an amazing move and keep your stop exactly where you had it, pretty much very risk off and catch a beautiful move that day, right? Very, very good. So this is going to be the future side. I know I made this side kind of long. I'm going to explain a couple of trades for how to get precise entries on the option side and the type of contracts that you should be, selecting to manage risk a little bit better. So let's go over PLTR. This is actually a trade I took this week. And why did I take PLTR? It's actually a long analysis on PLTR, but to make it short, we had a very significant level of demand here at 136, 136. And we broke below it very aggressively on Friday, June 27th. The PLTR was down 10%, one of the weakest names. But then on Monday, we kind of start trying to reclaim it. But it didn't really, like, towards the end of the day, it tried to break back below it. So all my eyes were on this 136 level. It looked like this at the time, right? And then on Tuesday morning, I started to see us fell to hold that area again. So I'm like, all it was a healthy pullback after a 10% sell off. But now, if we start getting weakness, we can probably sell back off to these 130s. So, how do I get a precise entry? I need a significant level, which happened to be the 136. And we also had like the pre-market low, which correlates to previous day low right there. Very nice level of support there. What I was looking for was a rejection off 136 or a break and hold under 130, pretty much the pre-market low. And as long as we stay below that pre-market high at 137, that is giving me a lot of confidence to potentially take a short here. Yeah, this was like a head and shoulders yesterday too. I mean, sorry, on Monday. You guys could see that. So pretty much what happened, we got a morning first candle of the day, got a very strong move up, and it rejected fast. So as you guys can see, right? So I actually entered as it started to reject. So once I started to see the rejection, like I said, I'm not just looking at one time frame. I'm looking at it on a 1 minute time frame too. So we switch. What happens? We had a strong move up, and the next two candles completely fell. As I started to see that, I made my entry because 136 was the level of support back here. As you guys see, if I draw a white line here, what was it? It was support here. It was support here. What does it turn into if it doesn't get above it? Resistance. So I got my entry off that resistance with the stop loss right above it, and I was able to catch this down into the pre-market lows. Now, let's say you weren't able to, because it's a skill set to start catching those rejections. It's just experience. If you miss that, if you break another key level, and in this case, if I'm looking for the downside, remember I showed you guys futures, those bullish hammers examples. Now I'm gonna show you guys shooting star, bearish hammer examples. When you break a key level, we break and we hold below, retest with a bearish hammer. That is also another beautiful entry point that I can take with stops above it, and we get that beautiful sell off down into 133s and 130s for the day. A lot of weakness, shooting stars, and I was able to pretty much capitalize on that move based off of those candles. Um, and you want to choose contracts with time. You want to choose contracts that aren't going to, I don't go too far out of the money. If I have less than 5 days, I go in the money. If you're trading zero DTEs, I don't recommend going out of the money unless you're skilled at it. Now, like I said, for the most part, I'm trading in the money contracts, at the money contracts. The next setup that I took was Nvidia, and this happened to be on what date? I know I'm making this video long, but I want to provide some good information for you guys. It happened to be on this day, okay? So we had basically broken a key level with strength, and we also broke the pre-market high, which was here at 153.60. Now, when I'm entering off of just a five, I gotta have like confirmation on a couple different time frames for me to get a precise entry to see if we're actually gonna break and hold a level. Otherwise, you guys will see a candle break a level, and before the candlestick closes, everyone gets in, and then it's a fake out, and it ends up closing below. So once I start to see two different time frames that we're actually starting to hold the level, then I can get the entry. So as you guys see, we broke the key level of 153, 153.60. And as we start to retest it, I also look at the 1 minute time frame. Let's go to the 1 minute time frame. And I'm looking at both because the 5 minutes obviously going to be stronger, right? The 5 minutes going to be stronger. But the 1 minute will kind of give me those early sentiment that is showing signs of it holding also. And as you can see, we break and close above the level. We pull back with the doji, a bullish hammer. And that's signs for me to hold, and I can calculate my risk off of that, right? Basically, if I keep stops right under that level in these candles, it's very little risk. It's a precise entry of signs that it's starting to hold. And my next target was 155. Why? Because it was a big resistance from Tuesday. I'm always kind of looking back, trying to see where the next resistances are and so on. As you can see, it really was from back here, right? There. So that was a beautiful resistance. Notice how even if you broke and retested that resistance, you would have seen a bullish hammer right above it. And there was also a retest of the previous high, which was here. Like this was a high for the day at 155. We broke, we started to hold it, and look at the type of candle you get there, a bullish hammer. So those bullish hammers off of very significant levels are very, very significant to me, and they give me a lot of signs that the level could potentially start to hold. Now, there's a lot more to it. Reading price action, it's the speed of the candles, how fast it retests. But I hope you guys gain value from this video and like some of the things I look for to get precise entries and precise exits, kind of like when it starts to slow down, reading price action at significant levels. Also, guys, if you want to gain more experience and become a better trader, I highly recommend joining the Discord that I just created. I will be trading in there daily, every single day, live trading futures and options. I started a 50K account challenge to help people get funded in there. And I'm starting the 1K account options challenge this week to help people scale on that side. I will also be doing weekly lessons in there, kind of similar to this, teaching how to get precise entries, trade recaps, and questions and answers all the time. So it's going to be very valuable. It also includes educational material, over 70 videos and it's pretty much my academy that took me over a year to create, and it's all included in one. So there's going to be a discount code for 4th of July. It's going to be July 4, and the link will be in the description. I highly recommend you guys join it if you guys want to keep, leveling up in your trading. And I'm excited to see you guys all in there. And I hope this video was very valuable for you guys. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you guys have a great weekend.